Hello everyone, welcome to Sunya IAS and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to talk about a very important topic from which very recently many questions have been coming up. The topic is President. And the kind of questions that come up from the topic of President are usually about the elections of the President, right? But we are going to cover it wholeheartedly, entire thing. Whatever needs to be covered about the President, we are going to cover it. So let me just tell you how this class functions for those of you who have joined for the very first time. We make running notes of these classes, right? We make running notes of these classes on A4 size sheets. Okay, why A4 size sheets? Because you can manage them according to your convenience. Whichever topic you want to remember, whichever topic you want to revise, you can actually straight away go to that topic. Okay, so don't make it on bound register, always make it on A4 size sheets. And I will tell you what to note down, what not to note down, right? Similarly, you can just keep on adding. Some things you will have to add up from Laxmikant, and I will tell you that also. Okay. Now, regarding the Indian president, you can start writing down before we go to the questions. There are some basic facts that you need to remember. The Indian president is the executive head of the union government, right? The Indian president is the nominal head. That means Indian president does not have any real powers. The Indian president functions on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. Okay. And Indian president, the method of elections of Indian president is actually indirect elections. And how is he elected? How is he or she elected? Right now we have a female president. So how is she elected? Please write down proportional representation by single transferable vote. Okay. Now, many detailed questions have come up from this particular part, and we are going to talk about it, right? So, other things about the president. President is the first citizen of India. These kind of facts, they seem very trivial, but till the time they are not in your notes, they do not fit into your memory. So when the citizens are enumerated, the first citizen of India is the Indian president. And he or she is also called the head of the Indian state. Head of state. Please remember, she is the head of state, not the head of government. The head of government is the Prime Minister of India. We will talk about it when we do the chapter of Prime Minister of India. Now, let's just keep on solving questions and I will keep on telling you what to note down, what not to note down. Okay. So, just a second. How do we go about the questions? You see the question. I will read it up. After I read it, you pause it and you think about the answer. Okay. And then you play it. So, the first question. Which of the following statements regarding the nomination stage of the Indian presidential elections candidate is correct? The candidate needs to have 100 proposers and 100 seconders for their nomination. An elector can propose or second the nomination of more than one candidate. And the nomination stage was introduced only in 1974 to prevent frivolous candidates from contesting. How many of the above statements are correct? Now, please read it very carefully and keep on writing it as I tell you. See, even if a person is attempting to stand in the presidential elections, they need to have not 100, but 50 people who propose that this person should be standing for the president, and not 100 plus but 50 seconders. So in total, there should be 100 people who second and who basically contend with the fact that this person should be standing for the elections. Okay. And this particular stage, so first statement becomes incorrect. And please add it in your notes that 50 proposers, 50 seconders. Just simply write that. Okay. Then this particular condition was given only in 1974, because before that it was seen that just to gain prestige or just to gain, some kind of fame, anyone would be contesting the presidential elections. So this condition was added in 1974. Okay. And these kind of things are asked in your UPSC examination nowadays about the amendments to the election procedure, about various kind of things. So the third statement is correct. However, this particular statement, the second statement, by common sense, you have to make it incorrect, because one elector, that is one MP or MLA, can only propose or second only one candidate, right? If they are proposing or seconding more than one candidate, then that is a fraud on the Indian Constitution, right? So this becomes incorrect. With that logic, only one statement is correct, and here you have added this to your notes, and you have added this to your notes, and even this to your notes, that only one candidate can be supported by one elector or one proposer. Okay, I hope this is fine. Moving on to the next question. Regarding the value of each vote in the election of Indian president, which of the following statements is accurate? All members of Lok Sabha can vote in the presidential elections. The value of each MLA's vote is calculated dividing the population of the state by the number of MLAs and then multiplying by 1000. And the population data of states used for the calculation for the presidential election is based on the 2001 census figures. How many of the given statements are correct? See, to answer this particular question, you have to actually write down the presidential electorate. The electorate for Indian president election. What is electorate? Who all vote in the Indian president's election. So there are two aspects. One is the parliamentary votes and one is the state legislative assembly votes. Okay. So in the parliament, the elected members, all the elected members, be it if they're a part of a political party or they are independent candidates, they vote. So elected MPs vote, but nominated MPs do not vote. Okay, nominated MPs do not vote. Please write this down, and write this down in the same manner that I'm writing it down so that you can revise it very quickly. Maximum you can write elected MP votes, nominated MP does not vote. You can write it like this. Regarding state legislative assembly, same thing. The elected MLAs vote and the nominated MLAs do not vote. Okay. Another thing, the state legislative council. We know that in 6 states there is state legislative council. State legislative council does not vote at all in the presidential election, because the method of election of state legislative council is very, very indirect. And if state legislative council was supposed to be voting, then every state would create a state legislative council, right? Just to get more weights in the presidential election. So this is the presidential electorate. Okay. Now see what is the weight and how is this weight calculated. See, you start with state legislative assemblies. Okay, please note this down very carefully, that the state legislative assemblies and the seats assigned to them according to 1971 census. So it's not 2001 census, it is 1971 census. Let's say a particular state has 1,000 people. It's just a hypothetical situation, or 10,000 people. Okay, 10,000 people are here, and this particular state has been given 10 seats in the state legislative assembly. So in total state legislative assembly, there are 10 seats. Okay. Now, the value of each vote of each MLA in a state, I'm just talking about this state X right now. Each state's value is calculated separately. So in this state X, there live 10,000 people and they have 10 seats in the legislative assembly. So you see that you divide it and you get 1,000. However, the 1,000 is a very big figure. You know, when you take it to millions, etc., it becomes a very big figure. So for the ease of calculation, you divide it by 1,000, right? So in this case, the value of each MLA's vote comes out to be 1. Okay, the value of each MLA's vote comes out to be 1. Similarly, for every state, Y state, Z state, A, B, C, D, for every state, this process is followed. Okay. Now, when this process is followed for every state, after that, the weights of all the weights of all the MLAs across the states is added on. Okay. It is added with each other. So let's say the added weight comes out to be 1 crore or something, you know, added weight comes down to be 1 crore or 1 lakh, whatever. This 1 lakh will be divided by the total number of MPs that we have. So this 1 lakh will be divided by total number of MPs by of Lok Sabha plus Rajya Sabha elected MPs. Total number of elected MPs. So the value of votes of MPs is decided on the basis of the total value of the MLA's votes. Okay, so the process goes like this. Now, this has been pretty much finalized and this is going to change after the 2026 delimitation. We all know that this hot debate is going on right now where South Indian states are saying that why should we face delimitation, because our seats will be reduced because we have reduced the population, right? So in 2026, the decision will be taken regarding what is to be done about the presidential election electorate. But right now, the 1971 census is the Magna Carta according to which the votes are assigned. Another thing is that, which doesn't really impact the presidential election, that within a state, let's say this particular state has been given, for example, 100 seats. Okay, let's say 50 seats in the Lok Sabha, in the Rajya Sabha. So, within that particular, 50 seats in the state legislative assembly, 50 seats in the state legislative assembly. Now, within this particular state, let's say if one particular district has gained more population and another has reduced its population, so that change can be incorporated according to 2001 census. So 2001 census can be used for the intra-state changes of seats. However, the overall number of seats that is allocated to a state will remain the same. So when you come back to this question, the first statement you do incorrect, that all members of Lok Sabha can vote in the, actually yes, the all members of Lok Sabha can vote in the presidential election becomes correct, and there is a reason behind it. The reason is that by the 104th Constitutional Amendment Act, the nomination of the Anglo-Indians has ended. Anglo-Indians will not be nominated anymore in the Lok Sabha, and that is why starting with the next election, that is 2024 election, every member of the Lok Sabha will be eligible to vote in presidential elections because there is no nominated member at all. Okay, so first statement is correct, and please remember you have to make this correction in M. Laxmikant or whichever book you are following or whichever notes you are following, because if they are not updated, then they will write this as wrong statement. But now this statement is not wrong anymore. Okay, because there are no nominated members. Now, value of each MLA's vote calculated by dividing the population of the state by number of MLAs is fine. Till here it is fine. But multiplying it by 100, no. It is actually dividing by 1000, not multiplying by 1000. Okay, so this is commonsensical. You would not want to multiply the figure that you have because it will make complications in calculations, right? And population of data is not according to 2001 census, it is according to 1971 census. So here only one statement is correct, and I understand that many of you would have chosen the first statement as an incorrect statement because we are very used to choosing that. But please now remember that you have to update yourself according to the updated laws. Okay, so that is there. Now, which of the following is true regarding the election of Indian president? The president is elected by a simple majority of the electoral college. The electoral college includes members of parliament but not members of legislative councils. And the value of an MLA's vote is the same in all the states. And this is the part from where this particular question was asked in the in this particular examination that we got. See, the thing is that we need to understand, we need to find the absolutely incorrect statement first. So the president is elected by a simple majority? No. They are actually elected by the proportional representation by single transferable vote. Okay, we will discuss the method of election just now. Ultimately, what happens is that the person who is elected the president has to have more than 50% votes. Okay, has to have 50%, more than 50% votes, and that is why there is ranking. It's not that in the presidential election every MP and MLA will just go on choosing one aspect, right? One candidate. It's not like that. So you rank the people according to your preference. You give 1 rank, 2 rank, 3 rank. I want these people to be elected as the president. And according to this ranking, the persons who get the least number, let's say the first rank people are calculated. I'm just explaining the method to you so that you understand. So let's say this person A has been given the first rank by more than 50% people, more than 50% electors. Then A person automatically ends up being elected. But if this is not the case, then you start recounting. So there will be person, let's say B. This B person has got the least amount of first preferences. Okay, so least amount of people has put this B person as the first preference. So the B person would be eliminated as the first preference, and the second preference of this particular electoral roll will come to the first. Okay, so what they are trying to say is that least number of people want B to be the president of India. So B has to be eliminated anyhow. Now what do we do with rank 2, rank 3, rank 4, rank 5 that the people have elected? We shift rank 2 to rank 1. We shift rank 3 to rank 2. We shift rank 4 to rank 5. We shift rank 5 to rank 4. We do this with every slip so that we can now get, maybe this particular person gave B person as 1 and this A person as rank 2. So now this A person in the second counting, if he or she gets the maximum amount of votes, then this A person will get selected. The goal is that more than 50% people should choose this particular person, and that is why overall proportional representation by single transferable vote is considered a very good way of actually choosing the people's mandate. Okay, so this is incorrect. Simple majority is not the method. Electoral college includes members of parliament, yes, but not the members of legislative councils. Yes, members of legislative councils are not included. We have already talked about it. And here, if you made this statement incorrect because it is written members of parliament, then you do not have to read between the lines because it is not written all members of parliament. If all members of parliament would have been written, the statement would have been incorrect. But members of parliament, of course, are a part of electoral college. And many of you would have done this statement wrong because it is written legislative council and you did not bother to read enough till the last word. So you have to read enough till the last word. That is what you have to do. So this statement is actually absolutely correct. And the value of an MLA's vote is the same in all states? No, it cannot be the same in all states. Why? Because the value is stuck. Because the number of seats are stuck according to 1971 census. Now let's say there are 10 seats that are allocated to a particular state legislative assembly. In 1971, the population of this particular state was 100. So the value of each MLA becomes 10. Now in 2023, the population has become 200, but the number of seats remain the same. So the value becomes 20. Okay. Same MP will actually be representing more number of people. So the value will increase for each MP. But does that mean that the number of seats will increase? No, that is not the case. Just each MLA, not MP, sorry, MLA. Each MLA will be representing more and more people. So value will keep on increasing. So the value of MLA's vote is same in all the states? No, that is not the case. Okay, so only one statement is correct, and I hope you have written down that it is proportional representation by single transferable vote. Value of MLA's vote is not equal across the states, and this you have already written down, so you don't need to write it down again. Next question. Consider the following statements regarding the re-election of the Indian president. The Constitution puts bar in making the president eligible for re-election. The Indian president can be re-elected for a maximum of one additional term, and the re-election of the Indian president is subject to the approval of the parliament and the state legislative assemblies. How many of the given statements are correct? Now please read this very carefully. See, Constitution does not put any bar on the re-election. A person can be re-elected any number of times, and please put this down in your notes. No bar on re-election. Okay. That makes the second statement absolutely incorrect because Indian president can be re-elected. Right. So second statement is incorrect. Then re-election is subject to approval. No. It's not that right now Madam Draupadi Murmu is the president and when the next presidential election comes up, she will automatically become the president by just simple approval. No, there have to be elections again. So she again has to stand in the elections. She again has to win by the proportional representation and single transferable vote. And only then she will become the president again. And as many number of times as possible because there is no bar. So even this becomes incorrect. So the statements, all the three statements are incorrect. And see, how do you answer a question? The first statement, bar on re-election, and second statement are somewhat related, right? They are almost saying the same thing. So you have to see that both the statements can either be correct or be wrong. So that's how you have to make some intelligent guesses also. And please remember, write this down here that the US president, a few things about the US president. One is that only the natives, only natural citizens, only citizens born and brought up in US are eligible for, only citizens by birth actually, not natural citizens, only citizens by birth are eligible to actually stand for the presidential election in the US. And the US presidential election, there is a bar of 2 times. Maximum a person can become US president for 2 times, not more than that, in their entire lifetime. It's not that in a row. In their entire lifetime, they can become president only twice. That is why Obama was able to become president only twice. Otherwise, he would have been elected again also. Okay. And the US president is actually both the head of state and the head of government. So US president is termed the most powerful person in this world. Okay, because US is the biggest economy, US is the most powerful country. So US president becomes the most powerful president, most powerful person of the world as such, officially. Okay, so the third statement is also incorrect. You have written some things about your US president also. None of the statements given are correct. I hope this is very understandable. Moving on to the next question. Consider the following statements regarding the impeachment of the President of India. According to the Constitution, the President can be removed from his office before the expiry of his term only on the grounds of violation of the Constitution. Then the Constitution under Article 61 defines the meaning of the phrase violation of the Constitution, and the resolution to impeach the president must be passed by a special majority, not in the originating house, but also in the other house. Now, which of the given statements are correct? See, you have to first find out the incorrect statement. So nowhere the Constitution would explain what violation of the Constitution means. Okay, Constitution does not explain things like that. Office of profit, violation of Constitution, these kind of things are not explained by the Constitution ever. So this becomes incorrect. When you know the second statement is incorrect, you somehow can gather that this might be the phrase that is actually given in the Constitution for the presidential impeachment. And by that logic, even if you are not able to remember, you can simply make this intelligent guess that yes, second statement is giving this and violation of the Constitution must be a ground, although you should be knowing this. So first statement is absolutely correct. There is only one reason why the president can be impeached, and that reason, my dear, is the violation of Constitution. This is not so in the American president case. In the American president case, there are cases for high crimes, for treason. There is multiple reasons. They have defined it pretty properly also. So that is not the case for American president, but for us, it is only the violation of the Indian Constitution. Now, the third one is the most important. The resolution to impeach must be passed by a special majority. Yes. Now, how do we understand special majority? We understand special majority by 50% of total members and 2/3 of present and voting, right? That is what we understand by special majority. But the presidential impeachment has a different kind of special majority, wherein, please note this down, write it as impeachment, write the heading of impeachment as of the president. And the kind of majority that is required is 2/3 of total members of the parliament, of the house, right? 2/3 of total members of the house. And this is the most difficult majority that is given in the Indian Constitution, because once the president gets impeached, somehow you lose faith in the overall process of the governance, that how is the first citizen being impeached. So no president has been impeached till now because of this very reason. The process is very difficult. Now, before even presenting this impeachment resolution, 1/4 members of that particular house, so 1/4 of Lok Sabha or 1/4 of Rajya Sabha, have to sign the resolution that we want to impeach the president, and then the speaker will accept, right? Then the speaker will take the decision. So 1/4 member have to sign the resolution of impeachment. This is even before the voting has started. Okay, voting will come in the next stage. Write another thing, that 14 days notice is supposed to be given to the Indian president when the talk of the impeachment is going on. Okay. And here itself in the impeachment, write who all participate in the impeachment. So, please note down that entire parliament participates in impeachment. That means entire Lok Sabha and entire Rajya Sabha, including the nominated members, will be participating in impeachment. Will the President of India get a chance to vote in her own impeachment? No. She is not an MP. Please understand, President is a part of the Indian Parliament, but President is not a part of any of the houses. There is a huge difference there. So these are the things that you need to write. State legislative assemblies and state legislative councils. Councils तो election में भी participate नहीं करते हैं. But state legislative assemblies do not participate in the impeachment. So this is the difference between the Electoral College of President and the Impeachment College of President. I hope you understand that. Right? Moving on to the next question. So here, yes, resolution to impeach must be passed by special majority is correct. So only two statements are correct over here. Okay. Next one. Consider the following statements regarding the president's right to defend during the impeachment process. The President of India has the right to defend themselves through an authorized counsel during the impeachment process. President can choose to defend themselves or appoint any person or lawyer. And the President cannot appoint the Attorney General of India as their defense counsel during the impeachment process. Now, how many of the above statements are correct? This is a very unique thing because, see, we would be knowing that the above two statements are correct. The President of India will of course have a right to defend themselves, because if a violation of constitution charge has been put on them, it's a very serious charge and they need to defend themselves. So first statement is generic, it is correct. They can appoint any person or lawyer, this is correct. Now when they can appoint any person or lawyer, then even the Attorney General of India can be appointed as the counsel. Now listen to this. You might think that Attorney General of India is an official position, is a constitutional office, right? How are they defending the president who has been charged, who has been accused of violation of the constitution? See, the Attorney General of India is officially the legal representation of the central government. Attorney General of India is officially the legal representative of the central government, not of the Indian Parliament. So the conditions of service, the salaries, allowances, everything decided by the central government, that is decided by the president. Okay. So Attorney General can defend, and Attorney General is not a full-time job also, in that sense ki Attorney General is allowed to do private practice also. Okay, so in that sense, Attorney General can actually defend the President of India, and this is a fact that you need to remember from now on, that Attorney General can defend the President of India when the President of India is being charged for impeachment. Okay, so I hope this is very, very clear to you. This one becomes incorrect. So only two statements are correct. B is the correct option. Please note this down, that you don't need to write every big line. Just write down even the Attorney General can defend the Indian President. Next one. Consider the following statements regarding the powers of the President of India. The President can grant pardons, reprieves, respites or remission of punishment in all the cases where the punishment or sentence is by a court-martial. The President can suspend, remit or commute the sentence of any person convicted of an offence against any law relating to a matter to which the executive power of the Union extends. And the President can suspend, remit or commute a sentence of death exercisable by the governor of a state under any law for the time being in force. Which of the given statements are correct? Now see, these are exact verbatim about the veto powers of the president. So please make a note, the veto powers of the president, and you need to write this down, that president is supposed to have the final say, which is called presidential, sorry, not the veto power, I'm so sorry. It's the pardoning power, not the veto power, pardoning power. Veto power is regarding the allowance and the rejection of the bills, right? So it's the pardoning power. The pardoning power of president is supposed to make sure that the final justice is not denied to people, right? Justice is not denied to the people is something that actually is the goal of this particular power. Now, one thing, the pardoning power of the Indian president is very extensive. So the first statement is absolutely correct, that even if a crime is for the court martial, only the president of India has this power, that he or she can actually pardon that particular sentence. And please note down that this goes under Article 72. This goes under Article 72 of the Indian Constitution. So it is a constitutional power. It is a constitutional power that that the president has. So first statement is correct. You can simply write down in your notes, court martial, president is allowed, governor is not allowed. Governor of a state cannot pardon a particular court martial sentence. Then president can suspend, remit to the extent on which the union power extends. This is absolutely correct. Of course, any union law which has been violated, for which there has been punishment, president can pardon that. President can suspend, remit the death sentence. Yes, president can suspend, remit the death sentence as well, right? Governor can do anything with the death sentence apart from pardoning the death sentence. Although recently Supreme Court has said that governor even has the power of pardoning the death sentence, but constitutionally there is no change. The governor does not have the power to pardon the death sentence. All the other powers are there, but governor does not have the power to do to pardon the court martial and the death sentence. Now I want you to understand and very clearly understand the difference between reprieve, remission, and commutation and all these things. See, commute is very simple. You commute from here to there, means you change your place. Okay. So commute means change the nature of punishment. Change the nature of punishment. So it could have been a death sentence. Now you have commuted it to life imprisonment. This is commutation. Then you come to the confusing part. For example, the next one is remission. Remission is when you remit. Remit means you reduce the duration. You reduce the duration without any specific reason, right? You reduce the duration of the sentence. Okay, for any there's no specific reason like pregnancy or marriage or death. No, you just reduce, you remit. So you let go of the period of sentence, of this particular period of sentence. That is remission. Then there is respite. When do you respite? When do you take just a breath of respite? When you wanted to do something and now you will be able to do it. For example, when you clear prelims, it will be like a respite for you. That it's the very tough part, the biggest eliminator is over. Okay. So respite means that the sentence is reduced because of some special reason. Respite means the sentence is reduced because of some special reason. Okay. Then there is reprieve. These special reasons, I hope you understand, can be pregnancy, marriage, death, divorce, anything. So then comes reprieve. Reprieve is sort of a sudden word. If you just think about it, sort of a sudden screechy word. Reprieve means that you put a hold on this particular sentence. Reprieve means that you put a break on a sentence for a particular while. You are not reducing the amount of sentence. You are just putting a break on the sentence for a while for any particular reason. So respite mein you are reducing the period. Remit mein you are reducing the period. Reprieve is a sudden word. You are just providing a break for maybe 6 months, 2 months, 1 month, whatever. And then you will have to serve the same amount of time again. Okay. And these things are different. These things are different from, let's say, furlough or parole. Furlough or parole is different, right? But these things, anytime a question can come. And the biggest is, of course, pardon, that you completely let go of the entire thing that is there against you and you start afresh. The president just pardons it and you start afresh, right? Please note this down and let's move on to the next one. Consider the following statements about the grounds for impeachment of the president. Unlike Indian president, the US president may be impeached for high crimes and other misdemeanors of the constitution. In the US, any member of the House of Representatives can introduce an impeachment resolution, whereas in India, either of the houses may prefer impeachment charges if signed by at least 1/4 of the members of the preferring house. And impeachment of the president is justiciable in both the US and in India. How many of the given statements are correct? See, first find out the absolutely correct or absolutely incorrect statements. We know the first statement is correct, that US president can be impeached for high crimes, for treason, for other misdemeanors. So this is correct. The second statement, please write down where you have written down regarding the US president, that any member of the House of Representative can actually initiate the impeachment process, and this much we know, that we need to have 1/4 members that are allowing this resolution to be presented in the Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha itself, and that means in both the houses of parliament the impeachment process can begin. Then impeachment of president is justiciable in both the US and India. India, yes, it is justiciable. You can just question how this process was flawed or whatever. In the US, you cannot do it. In the US, you cannot question. Once the president is impeached, the president is impeached. So the whole statement becomes incorrect. Always remember this fact about correct or incorrect statements, that even if one word in this particular statement is incorrect, the entire statement becomes incorrect, right? Please understand this, okay? So here only 2 statements are correct. I hope you will remember this. Next question. Consider the following statements regarding the presidential powers and functions. The provision that the president is bound by the advice of Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister is enforced along with the Constitution. The framers of the Constitution allowed the president to return a matter once for consideration for his ministers to keep a check on legislature. And inclusion of new members in the Electoral College requires a constitutional amendment carried out through a special majority in Parliament and ratification by over 50% of the states. How many of the given statements are correct? First of all, you need to remember, if you know any particular statement correct or not, you know we have done the constitutional amendment. The third statement is absolutely incorrect. Correct. Right? So, any change in the method of election of the president is a federal provision. And any change in federal provision, what does it require? It requires ratification by 50% states by a simple majority, and it requires to be passed by both the houses of parliament by special majority. So third statement is correct. Now come to the first and second statement. And for here, you need to remember 2 constitutional amendments. See, you need to remember 2 constitutional amendments. One is the the 42nd constitutional amendment. One is the 42nd constitutional amendment, which made the advice of the Council of Ministers and any bill that they send binding. So any bill that has come to the president, any advice, anything has become binding on the President of India. And 42nd constitutional amendment was during the the emergency, the internal emergency, and that is why always they'll try to make the president a puppet of the union government. Okay, so that is what they tried. They tried to make it a rubber stamp. After the emergency, the good amendment, as I always call it, the 44th constitutional amendment said that Mr. President or Miss President, you can return the bill once. You can return the bill or ask the particular house or the Council of Minister to reconsider it. But if they send to you again, if they send the same bill to you again with any majority, you have to accept it. So 44th constitutional amendment gave this special provision that you can send back this provision once, send back any bill once, but not multiple times. Okay, if it comes back to you in any form, in the same form or in a revised form, you have to accept it. Okay, so they gave some kind of power, but both these were enacted after, much after the constitution came into commencement, and that is why the first statement becomes incorrect, that it was not enforced by the constitution. It was by 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. And this, the framers of the constitution allow the president to return a matter once? No. Earlier, the president could return a matter anytime, any number of times. Okay, it was not clear. So 44th constitutional amendment actually made this provision. So even the second one is incorrect. So here only one statement is correct. I hope you have written this down. Now I have some tasks for you. We are at the end of our questions, and instead of taking up a lot of your time, what I want you to go is to go through the M. Laxmikant chapter on president. See, because any serious aspirant, despite doing the questions, despite doing and practicing what you are practicing currently, will never let go of the original book, that is the M. Laxmikant. Okay, what do you have to do? There are some powers of the Indian president, like the ordinance making power, like the veto power, like any like this pardoning power that we have done in this particular class, the diplomatic powers, the defense powers. है ना? These kind of powers, all of them are mentioned. President wala chapter is pretty long. Read these powers and add them to your notes in maximum 1 page. So all the powers combined have to come into your notes in 1 page, not more than 1 page, because your time is very precious and you need to revise everything before the prelims in a very quick manner. And that is why you need to write every power of the president in 1 page. So just article, just the crux of it, just like I have told you to make those notes. Okay, please do that. If you have any issue, you can comment and we will get back to you with the answer. I'll get back to you with the answer, but do this for yourself. Whatever pending is there from the chapter of president, cover it from M. Laxmikant and then close the book in such a way that you don't have to open it again. Okay. So that's all for this class, and let me just tell you a little bit about this course. This course is Revise Entire Prelims syllabus through 3000 plus MCQs. We have modern history, Indian polity, geography, Indian economy, art and culture, current affairs, ancient medieval, environment, ecology, and science and tech. These are the subjects which are comprising of everything that you need to know about the prelims examination. And along with this, you get this explanation videos and anything that you want to, and you get a schedule also so that you can keep on practicing these questions. है ना? Chapter by chapter you keep on practicing these questions. So if you think that your mind works better in the MCQ format and you need to have a goal and you need to have a unidimensional structure of your preparation, you can simply call on this number or go on this website, our website, so that you get to know more about our course. And we have tried to keep it as affordable as possible so that everyone can actually access this course. So I hope you found this class helpful. Thank you so much for attending. I will see you all in the next one. All the best.